Thank you for showing up tonight to the Wednesday Night Hump here at the Upstairs to the Right Music channel. I want to say a shout out to Scott for being first. Welcome, sir. Ben Allmark second. Nice to see you guys. It's so good to have you guys here, as always. Let me make a couple adjustments here. Yeah, looking good. How is everybody? Well, where should I start? Well, I always start out by saying that I am thankful for each and every one of you who takes the time to watch this live stream. Whether you're watching it live or you catch the rerun of it, I just want to let you know that it means a lot to me, and for you to stick through to the end and listen to everything I say really is fantastic. A lot of people are doing that according to my YouTube algorithm readouts, and I appreciate that so much. So thanks, guys, for that. Who else is here? Mr. Watson in the house. Hey, the gang's almost all here. Hey, guys. Well, it is getting towards the end of the year. And I did my Christmas thing, which turned out to be actually a little bit better this year in terms of views. And now it's time for me to do my kind of year-end retrospective. Mr. Thornhill, what a pleasure, sir. How you doing, man? Long time no see. Greetings to all. I'm going to say this here at the beginning, and I'm going to say it also at the end of the live stream tonight. A good friend of our channel's 3-Chord Dave is going to be having his last live stream. He's kind of put a hold on doing live streams for a while. And that's going to be this Saturday, 10 p.m. European. Well, actually, he's over in the Isles. So anyway, catch 3-Chord Dave this Saturday night, and give him your best, everybody that's here. A lot of you guys came from 3-Chord Dave, and I do appreciate that. So let's show him some love. I'm going to say that at the end of tonight's show as well. So just to let you guys know, it's on my mind. I will be there. Certainly. I'll be out. I'm going to my cabin this weekend that I stay out. I rent out in the woods. So I'll have plenty of free time because I'm not going out at night. Oh no, there's actual wolves out there. So no. But I'll definitely be there for that. So guys, if you can, I appreciate it. So tonight's kind of a retrospective of things that I've learned this year, actually, guys. You know, the main driving point of this channel is doing everything budget-wise, of course, but being good with what we have. It always comes back full circle to that, oddly enough. And this year is no different. We had a lot of unboxings that we did this year. Grecos and Tokais and Fenders. Interestingly enough, no Gibsons. We even had a few Gretches in there, as I seem to recall. And indeed, it was educational to me, with over 90% of those instruments being late 70s, early 80s, so vintage instruments. And kind of the education that I got on craftsmanship, the concept, really drilling home the concept of the quality versus cost ratio, making sure that you're good value for your money is another way they always say it. And really, you know, understanding that once and if you can get past your guitar snobbery, that there are some gems out there for you to discover. Once you break out of your wheelhouse, yeah, you know, you might actually find something interesting. And I was very pleased to be able to share that with you guys. Scott says, we have wolf coyote hybrids here. What? What? Wolf Coyote hybrids. Wow, that was a wild party out in the forest one night, huh? My goodness. No, we just have your straight European wolf. They're about the size of a Mack truck. It's enough. um, you know, really that drove that home. And I had a strong desire at the end of this year, as you guys know, to obtain a vintage um, Japanese guitar for myself to keep. Not to say that I lack guitars, I have a few. Um, and I kind of start to stray away from the I'm good a little bit there, I noticed, when I started going down that path. And I'm glad that it didn't work out for me, because what it led to do is to take a look around at what I had, and as you know, start making modifications to that. I like that Harley Benton double cut custom with those. And by the way, I know I haven't put the video out, guys. It's always hectic, this last little push before I go on holiday. Again, like I said, I'll be sitting in a cabin for a few days. I'll have plenty of time to sit down and edit and put out videos for the holidays, so you can check that out. But I was so impressed with the sound of those Guitar Fetish Dream 90 humbucker P90s, that I actually did what I should have been doing all along. I sat down here, you guys see my pedal board here, it's because I've been recording. I use my pedal board for recording with the Moore for the radar for the first time, to lay down some tracks, which again, that's what this is all about. And the fact that that modification led me back to doing, creating, writing, and composing music like I should, lets me know that I did the right thing. You know, I went and the pickguard cover, the white pickguard cover that I ordered for the Squad to transform that into an HH guitar arrived. And I was able to put in the really nice Q pickups that I have, those hand wound pickups, and put that into that intake fern, and it might possibly be ready this Friday before I head out. So that's awesome. Again, and I plan on using that. I don't know what it's going to sound like. I hope it sounds great. Knock on wood, or at least the plot case. But really hope that it sounds good, because I plan on using that for recording as well. Again, you know, getting back to my, you know, I stray from my own, you know, words sometimes. I have to look in the mirror and say, hey, you know what, you're kind of good. You're kind of good, Michael. So, you know, I just, I learned that. You know, I went full circle, I'm good, then started getting to, oh, well, I have one of these when what I have is more than sufficient to do what I need to do. And got back to, I'm good again. You know, and, so I learned, that's the first thing I want to share, my 2024 year review about guitars, pedals, and scary prices, is the fact that the basic tenet of this channel is I'm good, and I got a good lesson in that this year. Scott Bogford is little, yeah, they're small, referring to the hybrids, but they're not afraid of people. Yeah, I guess not. Oh, Alex, how you doing, Alex? You, sir, just got a new amp. It goes with the Squire you gave me like bread and butter. Loving it. Thank you a lot. Well, you're always welcome for that. And I'm eager to hear later on. I'll talk to your pop and see what kind of amp you guys got. I'd like to hear about this a little bit more. That's great. Anthony Thor, Mike, how do we find a shop? I don't have a physical shop, because I sat down and looked at the overhead costs, the electricity costs, and all those things, and came to the conclusion that for right now that'd be a good idea. So I operate out of my place here. You can always contact me at my email on my channel, and everybody, you can contact me, just say hello. If you guys want to talk to me about something, always, always, always welcome. So if you remember during the Halloween live stream, I discussed the rising cost in the guitar world, and talked about price anchoring too. How those $1,000 Gibson pickups are really just a price anchor. In other words, let's come out with something that's an outlier in terms of price to make everything else under that look reasonable. That basically boils that down, what that is. I thought you had an online setup. Yeah, I did have an online setup, and I just wasn't getting a lot of traffic on it, and so I resorted to just a word of mouth thing, and it did well for me. You know, not to say that I won't. I do have the website, but I don't update it as much as I should. Especially stuff because stuff comes in like that. You know, I have a clientele list I blast out. Okay, this is coming in. Who's interested? And usually it goes. So that's working. This year coming up, I'm actually hoping to expand the business. So we'll see. I'm glad you asked me about that, Anthony. That's a good stuff to talk about this year as well, regarding this channel and some of the things that we do here. Now that price anchoring bit, you know, is something that I really want you to take home and remember. Always when you see things from Gibson and folks like that with these out, you know, even with the Greenie guitars, oh, this one in our master build class or master build shop, and we're going to charge you $50,000 for it, and you can sit down and have dinner with Kirk Hammett. You know, those are to make you say, well, I couldn't afford that $50,000 one, but the $3,000 or $4,000 one that they come out and they kind of mass produce those, I can grab that one. Again, it's price anchor. It's another, you know, psychological mind fuck, actually, in a way. Excuse for my French, but that's exactly what it is. It's a consumer behavioral tool that is used against you. So this year, you know, that was a concept that, you know, is floating around in the back of my mind. But when Gibson released that, you know, ultimate burst bunker set version 2, that's when, you know, it just, for some reason, you know, the neural pathways came together and put 2 and 2 together. And I was like, holy crap. You know, and to guys like me, like moi, I'm only going to, it's, you know, I'm of those who are going to stand at the site and I'm going to, you know, just kind of crap all over it, you know. I'm a naysayer because, again, if the version 1 was supposed to be, you know, the ultimate, you know, you paid $1,000 for that, and then they come along a year later and say, well, no, wait a minute, guys, we have this one, and this one's even more better. Not even a change of magnets, not, you know. Boy, man, you got, you know, was that P.T. Barnum said a sucker is born every moment, you know, every minute? In this case, almost every microsecond in the guitar world. As prices have been going crazier and crazier, I've become more and more interested in the Harley Bentons of the world. Welcome to the chat. Thank you for that thought. Yeah, again, you know, I had Harley Benton Double Cut Custom. I bought it 3 years ago because I was looking for an SG style guitar to record a particular sound I wanted on my album. I recorded those tracks. I very nicely put it away, and I didn't touch it until recently. I took it out and put in a new set of pickups in it, and I'm kind of in love with it. I said it wasn't an everyday strummer, but doggone it, while I'm waiting for my Squire to get back from Vern, I sure am playing it every day and recording with it. I sat here, I couldn't believe it. I passed 2 a.m. last night laying down guitar tracks with that Harley Benton, and I am completely happy with it. I changed the tuners, changed the pickups 4 times, electronics, the bridge, and the tailpiece, but it's essentially, still, anyway, the bones are there. It's a good guitar. Matty Two Hats. Hey, sir, I was you would show up tonight. You know, Matty, again, like I said, since you became the moderator, we have had a huge decrease in bots. So, again, I want to thank you, man. Whatever you're doing it right. I appreciate that. But drive carefully. Drive carefully. Um, so there was that. It's silly to me. It's silly, and it should be silly to you. And it really should make you say, as was pointed out there, that as these things get more insane, let's get back. You know what? That Harley Benton double cut custom is a guitar than any of the guitars that I learned on when I was growing up as a teenager. I told you I had quartz, mostly cork guitars, and Kramers were there, and Ibanez, but yeah, mostly Korean and Chinese copies, or Japanese copies at that time. So that Harley Benton is a far better guitar than those. So the generation that's available now is ironic that guitar is not as popular as it is when the guitars are better than they ever have been at affordable prices. I won't buy another Harley Benton. I'm good. I'm good with that one, but a good one. It's a keeper. I got lucky. So I learned that, guys. Pedal board projects. I have my pedal board here, of course, because I was recording last night, and I'm extremely happy with the Mua radar. Kind of my Christmas present to myself this year, so that I get back to recording. I like it far better than what it replaced, and it takes up a lot less space, half space on the pedal board. And I loaded in a acoustic guitar simulator IR or acoustic, and with those P90 humbuckers in the neck position, I was able to lay down some pretty, acoustic sounding tracks using an electric guitar through this Muir and a little bit of EQing here. And that was fantastic. I was like, great, don't need an acoustic guitar anymore. It's so much easier to play. And so I don't have to mic it. I have to have a mic where I do two mics. I do, when I'm doing, I don't have to do any of that anymore. So even just in that little something, I got it for $70, for $70, used, but it works just fine. And again, with this pedal board, I really have come to the conclusion. Of course, I'm looking. There is another pedal that Vibe 69, the Behringer, which again, it'll be friggin' Easter before it comes out, and that's no exaggeration, even though they announced it now. But even at that price, $60, I actually put in the order of Tom on. So when it does come through, I'll be one of the first to get it, I hope. But just going through the board and these pedals, I really came to the conclusion that I like this setup much better than using plugins. I like the sound. I like the quality of the sound much better. Plugins have their advantages. However, I just, this would be my second option as opposed to what my first option is, miking my tube amp. Since I can no longer do that, I was stuck between the option of building something like this or using plugins, and I just refused to go the plugin because they sound great, and to most people out there, they know the difference. But to me, how are you going to create your own sound, using plugins? It's kind of one of those things. So again, I'm good. Again, expanding upon what I already had, not investing a lot of money, finding bargains. I bought this in Japan, and a friend flew it back. So it literally just cost me $70, 70 euros. You can get them for about 120, so they're not that expensive, but or so. But in any case, looking for bargains and doing things that way. Again, everything is full circle with this year. Everything brought me back to I'm good. I'm good. Not only am I good, I'm super happy with the way this sounds. I really can't wait for you guys to hear the recordings, the songs that I'm recording using this, because it sounds great. Um, I unfortunately, as you know, if you recall, I had the problem with the where's my notes here? Oh yeah, I had a problem with that recording, the R8, because it ended up being kind of a lemon. Well, that drove me back to having to use Studio One, which I know very intimately since I've used it for over a decade now. But not really my desired way of recording anymore. There were times when I was recording last night, putting down those guitar tracks where I really wish I had my old 8 track where I could just punch record. It's just it's funny. Again, it seems kind of retro, uh, but I'm going back to basics. I guess that's another title for today. 2024 was going back to basics. Um, I touched upon this year the that old gem of the Fender versus Japanese copies debate. I told you and I showed you with the actual guitars from that era that especially that Tokai ST50 that they were building better guitars than Fender was at that time. So there is no doubt at one moment in time, yes, the Japanese copies were better than the Fender. That hasn't always been true. Wasn't true before. It may not be true now. But yeah, there was a time. So it's over there, and that is the window, if you're interested, that you should be looking at. So there's that. What else? Yeah, I talked about rehash and how I feel that this trend in the guitar market to continue to put out these rehashed designs, the American Pro 1, the American Pro 2, up to God knows the American Pro 18, whatever. These rehashed designs and the cost of those keep going up as opposed to, oh, we can do what we did last year, but we can do it cheaper. Funny how it never goes the other way unless they have to blow up, and that's a whole different thing. And the blowouts, by the way, that you're seeing with some of these retailers really should hip you to what the true cost of these, the dealer cost of these, they are nowhere near to, anyway, I think you guys are hip to that. So, again, I didn't finish that thought about the Zoom art. Making the most of what you got was another thing that I went full circle this year back to, in terms of my thinking. I know someone I got it, so might as well use it. I am still on the hunt for that type of recorder, but it just was not meant to be. And so sometimes, hey, you just have to, and that's another thing is learning patience too. Okay, I can't do this now, or this didn't work out the way I wanted to. Having a plan B, or saying, okay, maybe down the line that'll be a better time for something like that. Mike Watson says, my first guitar was a K, and wow, it was hard to play. Yeah, action is like to the moon on those guitars, and you're a kid, you don't know anything about that, and the luthier, what luthier? You have to depend on the older kids who are guitar players to teach you those things, and that's hit or miss. Nowadays you got YouTube, you can, oh, that's how you set this up, and you have, like Alex, you have far more advantage going for you in terms of guitar education now than I did when I was your age. So that's just a fact of it. Again, it's ironic that guitars aren't as popular as they used to be, but there it is. And by the way, K guitars, yeah, I forgot about Ks. I think John McKnight, my musician buddy growing up with, I think he had a K or two, something like that. I know K guitars, so it had to be there somewhere. Mike, have you ever owned or played an Epiphone T270? No, sir, I have not. I don't even know what that is. Wait a minute. Hold on. Uh-oh. I got called out. Epiphone. Okay. Let's take a look at this. Let's take a peek. Well, okay, yeah, here we go. Holy crap. So this Epiphone here that I'm looking on Reverb, the Epiphone ET270, is going for $1,800 US. Holy moly's. There's two available, one for 18 and one for 15, both of them interestingly in France. Let's take a look at the French connection here. Wow, that's a Strat body with the kind of the cornet headstock on it, I guess, or older Epiphone headstock. The production of Epiphone is Japan. Interested. Okay. Wow. From the 70s. No. Wow. It's a true Epiphone. Wow. No, never played, never seen one. That's something. That's an interesting one, and not an inexpensive guitar either. I'm going to bookmark that. I thank you for bringing that up to me. I'm going to research that one. That's down my alley. That's right down my alley. Scott, isn't that Corbin played guitar from the early days? Oh, that's where I've seen it. Kurt Cobain, okay. The Bleach guitar. Best known for the Bloom video. Okay. Was it in sky blue or white or something like that? As I vaguely recall. Okay, that's what that is. That's awesome. Hey, that's my alley. I appreciate you pointing that out to me, Michael. I'm sorry, Scott. It is right up my alley. Guys, take a look at that one. That's interesting. So, and that's another thing is continuing expanding our knowledge about this subject, about all the things that are out there. When you think that you knew or you heard of everything, believe me, there's a whole new page. There's a whole new chapter. And that's what keeps it interesting for me. Yeah, I like that. I even like the way it looks. It's nice. The one I was looking at was Candy Apple, both of them. Black Pickard. Look nice. Nice guitars, I bet. Yeah. So there's that. What else we got here? Yeah, so I was ranting about, the rehash lines and touching upon the fact that how many copies of the Jimmy Page whatever can you come out with, still milking the Led Zeppelin, I don't know. The other day, Rick Beato was flabbergasted because Mr. Beast has no idea who Prince is. Okay, Mr. Beast is the top YouTuber. He's got more views, tens of millions of subscribers. And an interviewer was talking to him and mentioned Prince, and he had no idea who he was talking about. How am I going to sell, for example, a cloud guitar, Prince's cloud guitar, copy of that, or even his Mad Cat, to a generation of guys who have no idea who it is? Now, granted, he's, music and guitars is not his thing, I guess, but certainly, he started his YouTube channel 4 years before Prince died. Didn't he, see in News Blast or some information that this really famous guy just died today and make a mental note of that? So how are you going to sell that nostalgia to a generation that has no regard for nostalgia? Okay, Prince, is relatively, Jimmy Page outdates Prince by 20 years. Let's move ahead from Prince 20 years to like John Mayall. That, I'm just saying. Just a thought. Maybe Prince died before Mr. Beast was born. Scott says, I want a Mad Cat Telly. That was the other. I bought 2 Harley Benton's. I bought that 3. I bought the bass. I bought the SE Custom and I bought their Mad Cat copy. The Mad Cat copy, Fern and I really worked on because it was a, oh, that was a boat. Same thing about that double cut custom, it's not heavy at all. It's not a heavy guitar. You hear about Harley Benz being heavy. That one isn't. That's actually okay. But that Mad Cat copy that they came out with there for a minute was a bow. But remember, we put new tuners, we put new pickups, new wiring, everything. We made it really nice and tight, and we donated it to children's school, musician school. But yeah, it was a pretty amazing thing to play. It does not, you would think that it would sound like, it does not sound like a Telecaster. It sounds more like a Strat. It's weird. It's weird. Now I understand why that Prince in the studio, most of Prince's recording in the studio, especially in the early part, from when he opened up, he built a studio in his house in Minneapolis, his first house by the lake. He's been using Strats. All that music, all the guitar solos, all the funk parts, all those riffs are Strat or that Mad Cat. It's either Jesse Johnson's Strat or the Mad Cat. So, but that Mad Cat, it has a particular sound to it that I'm never able to nail down until I discovered that it's not really a Tele, it's something else. Interesting enough. Perennial says that Tim Henson nostalgia run is going to go crazy in 2045. Good. Yeah, no kidding, man. Again, what did we learn this year? You know, we learned that, you know, that these manufacturers are desperate for any kind of tenuous, you know, relationship to something that can milk of the nostalgia out of, you know, in the consumer's mind. And again, when you're armed with the mental tools to know and call bullshit when you see it, then it has no effect on you. It has no effect. As a matter of fact, you can sit back and wait for them because you know, hey, this is, eventually they're going to have to blow XY out, and wait for that moment. You got cash in your pocket, then you're laughing all the way because you didn't fall for their initial marketing, pay whatever exorbitant price. On down the road, you were able to pick it up at a discount and feel good about it too. So there's a lot to this. Again, this year in review that that really all back to I'm good. And how do you get I'm good? How do you get good again? Well, by taking your time, you know. The sweetest love song is time. And so, you know, you take your time. You take your time, but you gather it over time. You get it piece by piece, part by part. I cannot believe I did not bring myself something to drink tonight. I had a nice libation set up and left it on the kitchen counter. Now my throat is parched. Son of a biscuit. Anyway, I'm not going to get up. I'm here now. You know, bit by bit, part by part. I'll give an example. Let me see if I can pick this up without dropping it all over the place. I want you guys to take a look at this. Take a look at that. All right, so this is my next project guitar. If you remember, way back when, it started with this Squier Affinity body. This is a 2000 Squier Affinity body that I stripped everything off and sanded it down and prepped it for painting. And I decided recently that, you know what, I kind of like it the way it is. I like that distress, you know, I actually, you know, this is actual kind of, what do you call it, like relicking, actually, in a way. And this neck, if you remember, when Temu first started here in Europe, I saw this, I was curious just like everybody else, and I saw this neck, and I ordered one. And it's actually a very, very nice maple neck. That is a Squire neck. Its dimensions are exactly the same as a Squire standard. And so a little bit bigger at the nut than a standard you would find on a Affinity, for example. And of course, this is the scratch pad with all the pickups and everything loaded up from the Squire that I am now having converted to an HH guitar. And you heard in the sound demo that I did between the Squire, the Tokai, and the Greco what this sounds like, what these sound like, so you're familiar with them. You know, they're ceramic pickups, and you guys were able to pick that out, but they do sound good. They sound good enough. So I said to myself, holy crap, you know, and I've got all the, you know, I've got the, over here somewhere, I've got all the parts that that are hardware parts that I need to put this together completely. Yet another guitar that I have pieces laying around. Okay, so good. Why am I buying another guitar when I have enough parts to build two at this point? Actually, I'm just lacking another neck. They don't make these. You can't buy this on Temu anymore. They discontinued this. This lasted for a hot second. I know Greg, the guitarologist, got one. He built a guitar using this neck that he got. A buddy of his got one, and they were having a little competition on YouTube of using this neck building a parts caster. I got one. It's been sitting around for quite a while now, and I'm going to use it with this. So this is going to be my next project guitar. And again, you know, a nice alder body. The reason I really held on to that is because they used alder for those early Squire Affinities. They used really good wood. And again, I'm actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to trick it out with gold hardware, I decided, because, you know, I really like the gold in the neck and the inlays. I really like that. So I'm going to do this one with gold hardware. So the tuners and all the other stuff will be gold, and I think it'll look awesome. I think it'll look awesome. Scott says Prince's verses were legendary, literally, between the Super Bowl rainstorm to the benefit for George. Oh, while my guitar gently weeps solo, he's cooler than cool. Yeah, it's something else, man. I alternate between being very pleased to have had that kind of musical influence in my lifetime to being angry at him for going out the way that he did. And but still, in all, he still lingers. He lingers there in my life musically. So this guitar is my next project after I'm done with the Squire. I'm going to work on putting this parts caster. And I don't know if I'm going to keep these ceramic pickups in here. Q pickups, they do a hand wound set of pretty nice pickups. Or I was thinking I might just hold out and see if I can find a secondhand a set of 70s U pickups. As you know, I love pickups. That can be found in most Grecos and Tokais. I know that I can find that. So that is the thought. But again, if you always have a project ahead of you, if you always have something like this, you know, to keep you motivated and going on, and you're doing the work yourself, more importantly, this entire thing, I'll do there's no need to involve a luthier. I can do all the other work, the setting the neck, doing all the soldering, all the stuff that needs to be done. I can do that myself. And that really gives me a sense of satisfaction. And it really, really does help me to say, I'm good. I've gotten to the point where I can start, you know, putting my own guitar together myself. And a pretty nice looking one. This is going to look pretty nice, actually. I can't wait, actually. This one is going to look pretty sweet. But again, I did that by gathering parts. Not just parts for building things, but parts for repairing as well. Stripping wires, you know, measuring, sanding, finishing, wood finishing materials, all the linseed oil that I use to finish necks, um, super glue to put to fill in, and up to 3,000 grade sandpaper, different sandpapers from 300 to 3,000 or higher to do the finishing work, to sand that down, make it smooth, and then put the linseed and finish it. Again, you know, these are things that I gathered over time. These are skills that I got, that I acquired, again, to do it myself, to be my own technician, be my own guitar technician, save money that way too. So I recommend that to you if you haven't done that. A lot of guys have. A lot of guys got far more. I look at some YouTube, they have an entire garage dedicated to just, you know, that kind of stuff. And I admire those guys. I moved around in life too much. I've lived in 5 countries and there's a penalty to pay. It's a great experience and I would not trade it for anything because I am well traveled. Let's just put it that way. And my education from that travel has benefited me. But one of the downsides is, you know, a rolling stone gathers no moss, as they say. And never had the opportunity to build things up. Now that I'm settled, now that this is where I'm going to stay, I will start to increase that amount of tools and parts and pieces as I see them, as they come up. Or if you're doing the project as you did, that's always lets you know you're doing the right thing because, hey, I don't have this. Like the other day, I you know, nothing to do with guitars, but I had my puppy, you know, I've got a 6-month puppy, and she's running into my bedroom, jumping up on my bed, peeing on the bed, you know, and I just can't have that because generally I didn't order a water bed. And I'm doing laundry every day. Every time she sneaks in there and does it, I had to put up a doggy door. Because I have the 2 cats, they have to get through as well. So I had to do that to keep her from getting through. And I was missing some parts, but I knew the parts that I was missing from experience. And I went to the hardware store, identified them, bought them home, and finished the project. But again, experience is a great teacher. And so gain some experience. Don't be afraid. You know, it's you know, it looks like it's complicated, you know, when you can get daunted, but when you look at the wiring and everything, and you go, oh, I can't do that, but I did that wiring myself. You know, it's been, other than the wire leads from the ceramic pickups, these pots are new. This switch is new. And 10 years ago, that would have been very daunting. I would have never tackled something like that. But now I can do that with some confidence. Again, the same with sanding and prepping this body. Stripping it down, sanding it, prepping it, getting it primered. And I got the primer on. This is primered. It's been primered, but I kind of dig the primer look. So I'm not, but I have a paint tint that I bought, and I have the paints in order to paint this guitar. But again, that was acquired through time. So if it's not a guitar that I'll paint, then fine. I have what I need to do others. So again, you know, I'm good is having what you need as well, if you can. And I'm not saying that it costs a lot of money. I did all this on a budget, you know, because I picked these pieces up when I saw them secondhand or when there was a sale on something. And I said, hey, that might be useful, something handy to do. And that's how I've begun to, through my, you know, the stuff that I was able to keep through the years, through that method. Scott says, I own and live the house I was born in. That's nice. It's an 80-year-old shack, but I love knowing that I can fill it with guitars and don't have to worry about moving. Yeah, it's a great feeling to be in one place. Again, my life that I've lived, the traveling musician on the road, has its pluses, but it has its minuses as well. But fortunately, I am of still good health, relatively enough to be able to pursue that. And the excitement of that, of filling up, not with guitars. Like I said, I only need one or two, and I really think that the Squire HH that and that double cut custom actually cover it for me, and they're not expensive guitars considering some of the ones that I have coming through here, but I'm good with those. So if that doesn't tell you anything, you can't take it away. Hey, wait a minute, Mike has some really nice stuff coming through, and he's good with a Squire. I'm not going to take anything away from some of those guitars. Like I said, I love those 70s U stamp pickups. Those are your best bet to getting an authentic next to go Q pickups and having him whine some for you, as I was mentioning, of getting that 50s Strat sound. They're really on the money. I am going to look for a set of those, but I'm looking to put them in this project that I'm working on. I'm not necessarily looking, for spending the money that it would take in order to buy a vintage guitar. Not necessarily. If one comes up, I will. And if one, I fixed one up, that SE450, I refurbished that one. I got it for cheap. If another cheap one comes up and I can refurbish it, then that I may keep that one, but we'll see. Anyway, the point is that all that ties into me knowing that I don't have to depend upon a third party to make that an economical choice for me. I've learned the skills in order to do at least the basics, maybe a little bit more than the basics, but that will grow. And just taking that and using it to my financial advantage. Because again, I'm writing these tracks to put out a third Asanoki album, which will be a mix of stuff you guys haven't heard from Mike McWilliams' albums that were rock-oriented songs, to some new material like I was recording last night. And the cost of doing that, I keep to a minimum, because I can say to myself, well, if I sell 10 albums, even something 10, not a lot, very little. 10 albums will cover the cost of this recording, of putting it together and putting it out. And again, because I'm doing it economically, Anthony agrees with Prince. Scott says, I only need one or two as well, but I'm still buying more even though I have 40 plus. Yeah. Well, if you can acquire them, you have the spot to do it, do it. I always say. I only do it, I've always been a one lady kind of guy at a time. And I certainly kind of find myself to being the same with instruments as well. Because I know the quirks of it. As much as I hate going back to Studio One, I know the ins and outs of it. I know the tricks, I know its limitations as well, and I know how to get a good sound out of my computer using that software. Sure, I can buy others and try them out, but again, I'm just kind of like, I'm comfortable with it, so it works for me. I would like to break out of it, because it drives me nuts. Anyway, that's another thing. There's a discussion for another time. I digress. But the point of that being is that I am a one guitar kind of guy. And but for recording, you recognize that at least I need two, because I want to get two distinct record sounds. That's just an old studio trick. You don't use the same guitar on all the tracks. You use at least two guitars. So you can do a Strat, a Tele, whatever, to differentiate the tonal quality of those guitars in the mix. And that's it. That's really my true consideration for wanting two guitars that I can record with. Which is good, because that's the kind of considerations that I really should be making anyway. So that was learned this year. It's funny. I'm always talking about I'm good, but I strayed away from the path myself a little bit there of my thinking for a minute. Being pragmatic and doing the right thing it ended up working out to something that I think is better than what I planned, what I wanted to do. And if that is a result of assuming the dogma of I'm good, then I'm good. Kind of works out in the end. That's good. I like things that work out in the end. I really do. I always hope and pray that things work out in the end. So I'm good, guys. My 2024 year in review, guitars, pedals, and scary prices really comes down to the fact that it taught me one thing, is that I'm good. I might actually be more than good. Because, you know, I got enough parts in here to build 2 full guitars. I need another neck. As soon as I find another Squire neck to replace the one on the Squire, because again, that's an older neck, but it is an Infinity neck. It's a little thin at the top, but I can make it work. As soon as I find a full-size neck like this one, then I'll finish that. Then I'll start on that project. You know, Strats, but that'll be it. That's too many Strats. I'm learning woodworking using these Strats, but maybe we'll move on to something else, like a telly. Maybe I'll start working on tellies. But the point is, guys, is that you can keep it fresh and keep it economical. You don't have to spend money in order to get that dopamine hit in order to make you feel good. No, you can feel good by working with what you got and discovering new ways to make it work. And that was what I learned this year. That's what I learned this year. My year in review really comes down to that. You know. And yeah. Now, I mentioned to you at the beginning of this live stream that the good friend of this channel, 3-Chord Dave, is wrapping up his live streams. He's calling it quits on him. It's unfortunate because I was trying to reach out to a couple of guys like Colin and Guitar Research, guys like that, and see if we could put together a panel, including 3-Chord Dave. It was his idea, and I thought it was a great one, and I really wanted to encourage him to pursue it. But unfortunately, Colin has other plans, and yet to hear back from the others for nailing down a date. And in the meanwhile, Dave is throwing it in. So let's encourage him, guys. Let's go to his last live stream on Saturday, 10 p.m. And he's over in Ireland, so 10 p.m. That time. Let's just let him know that we appreciate him and his live streams and what he's done, and try to encourage him to want to come back. I'm still going to try to put that together and if I can encourage him to come in and join in on that. I think that the future of music YouTube channels, much like the Fandom Menace and other YouTube channels that come together every now and then as a group to have live streams to discuss topics, really is something that you just don't see. And I understand, you know, musicians being the prima donnas that they are, that some folks don't want to actually play outside of their sandbox. That's fine. But I think that it is a good idea on Dave's part to want to do something. That is something that I was thinking, again, great minds think alike, of wanting to do. So I'm going to pursue that for 2025. I've said that before. I was encouraged, now a little discouraged, but I think that it's still something that I want to see happen. Scott says, I enjoyed Dave's show. Hate to see it go. Yeah, me too. I'll be there. Hopefully everyone can show up. And yeah. You know, 3-Chord Dave has been a great influence on all of us. I owe a lot to him. You know, he's been more than generous with his time with me, and is a gentleman through and through. That's all I gotta say. So let's go to him and let's encourage him and give our support. Like I said, I'm gonna be in my cabin that I rent out in the woods, which is literally a cabin in the woods, guys. No exaggeration. Is as you imagine. Your head, tall trees that go up to nowhere, dense as hell, and creepy as fuck at night. I love it. But I do have Wi-Fi. So I will be joining in on that, and I'll be there Sunday night as well. I'm going to attempt to think about doing a live stream this Sunday night coming up. However, I have to say that it's a 50-50 shot. I just want to warn you that may or may not. I'll post something either in my community section if I'm not going to do it, but if I decide to give it a shot, you'll see the banner announcing it as usual from the cabin with all the chaos that ensues with that, especially at this time of night. But I think I can pull it off. I'll find a place there that I can do it, and I'd like to try, but the Wi-Fi may be iffy. We'll see. Anyway, we'll give it a shot. But yeah, guys, I'll see you guys this Saturday over at 3 Core Dave's channel, and then possibly a live stream here on Sunday. Definitely doing Christmas. We're going to be doing live streams as well. So yeah, dig it, man. You guys take care. Thank you so much, and I will talk to you guys here coming up. Keep safe, guys. Blessings to each and every one of you to keep safe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.